Andrew, give us a bit of an insight into a dressing room mentality. You've been part of a World Cup winning team. When a team is on a roll, like the Indians are now, what is the dressing room like? I mean, you all were 2003, just won everything. 2007, you all won everything. When a team is on a roll, what does the dressing room talk about? What is the captain's message? What do players like you, legends of the game, talk about? Give us an insight into that.
Well, the mood in the dressing room is always very, very good when you're winning. And then I suppose when you get to a point where you're winning, you know, as much as what India are, you've got to be careful. The excitement your confidence don't get overconfident. So that's where your coach and your captain have to keep those sort of things in check, making sure the boys aren't getting ahead of themselves. But by all means, you've got to enjoy the moment. You know, a World Cup comes around once every 4 years. So very important to enjoy every moment, enjoy the individual success. You know, India have some very good individual performances, and obviously celebrate them. We used to celebrate them and enjoy a victory. So for me, the mood in the dressing room is very much set by the players, because that's the only real sort of sanctity that a cricket team's got these days. That's the only place where you can walk around with, you know, your jocks on, and you can have your best mate come in from the crowd and sit with you, and your family or your kids can come in, and there's no cameras. So it's a very sacred area, and that's an area which, as a player, you really do enjoy. So that dressing room time, you know, after a game, after a win, is quite a nice place to be in.
Over to you, Himanshu.
Right. Andrew, this is not only the 9th straight World Cup victory for MS Dhoni, but also the 98th win in ODIs for him. In fact, I've got a piece of stat here with me. He's now equals Stephen Fleming and is now only behind Ricky Ponting, Border and Clooney as far as ODI win record is concerned. It's impressive. What's been the highlight of Dhoni, the captain, for you so far?
Well, I think playing against him, it was always he sort of seemed to keep his nerve. You very rarely saw him lose his cool, yelling at players or seem to be panicking. He may have been, you know, there may have been turmoil underneath, but he always kept a very calm exterior, and that was something which I sort of admire for him. And his decision making was always clear. The players seemed to respect his decision making. If he made a decision that, you know, in the commentary box you might think was a little bit different, you know, the players would go with him. He'd have something going on in his head, and they'd go with him. So I think the respect that he's shown by his players is admiring. And I think the other thing is obviously his batting, his ability to finish tight games. He's done it many times, and that's obviously the benchmark of your good players, is how many times they can do these things, and he's done it many times. So and that in itself, I think, gives the Indian team a great deal of confidence, knowing they've got him to come in and finish games, power hitting or delicate touch, and what have you. So yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. But for me, India haven't seen a great deal of pressure yet, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond when this moment comes.
Right, Bole, you heard what Andrew had to say on MS. He was pretty vocal as a wicketkeeper today behind the stumps, guiding and instructing his bowlers, helping them with strategy. The fact that almost the entire bowling lineup seems to be knowing the roles for each and every individual in this team. A lot of credit for that definitely needs to be given to MS Dhoni this time.
Absolutely, Himanshu. In fact, very good point you make there. Today, if you see, Umesh Yadav at the very start of an innings bowled a short one to Porterfield, and he just pulled it for 6. And if you could see Mahendra Singh Dhoni's facial reaction at that point in time, clearly the captain was unhappy. He didn't gesticulate, he didn't say much, but his eyes, his looks communicated enough to Umesh Yadav that this is not what I want you to do. This is not the field I've given you. That is MS Dhoni. I mean, he's done it wonderfully. He was under incredible pressure. He retired in the middle of that test series, but to come back, win 5 games on the trot, this is now the team to beat, except New Zealand. No other team has this kind of record. I was seeing the statistics he was putting up there, 175 matches as captain, 98 wins, amazing. In fact, if you can sort of probe Andrew a little bit more, if you are the opposition, what do you do now? I mean, try and read the mind of say, Bangladesh. What do they do to upset an Indian apple cart? Because we see Bangladesh upset England. We see they're punching above their weight. What do they need to do to upset India? And what do India need to guard against going into that quarterfinal?
Well, for me, it's about execution. everyone, good players, strong players, what have you, they've all got areas where they're not as efficient. And then it comes down to execution. So for me, bowling to the Indian batsmen, they've got to execute. If they're to beat and put India under pressure, they've got to execute their plans to each individual well. They've got to bowl wider to Kohli. They've got to restrict runs at the start. They've got to bowl tight to Dhawan and these sorts of things. And they've got to really execute and put them under pressure in order to get their wicket. So that for me is where it's at for the Bangladeshis. That they must execute to put India under pressure.
Right. In fact, we're now joined by Nikhil Chopra in the studio as well. Nikhil, your impression of Shikhar Dhawan's incredible century. What was the highlight of his incredible knock today for you?
Well, I'm glad that he's getting runs, because come the test matches and the one-day series in Australia, he's struggling a bit. But going into the World Cup, getting runs, I think that shot on the arm came from that innings from South Africa, a top side, and, he carried his innings, getting 130 odd. So he's grown in confidence, and I'm glad he's getting runs. This is a World Cup. Some people might say that it is only Ireland, but if you don't get runs against a side like that, people say you missed out against Ireland as well. Job in hand, Himanshu, you need to get out there, be a professional sportsman, an athlete, get the job done. And I'm glad Shikhar is doing that. And come the business end of the tournament, it is how well you play the new ball once again will decipher what's the kind of score that if India is batting first, we'll be looking to defend. Handling the new ball is the most important part when you're playing in conditions in Australia as well as New Zealand, and I think he's done a fantastic job so far.
Right. Andrew, taking from where Nikhil left it, what do you think, who deserves the real credit for this incredible turnaround that the Indian bowling has seen? A couple of months in Australia, they were struggling, and now all of a sudden we see the Indian bowlers maintaining a great economy rate, taking wickets, doing everything the captain wants them to do.
As Nikhil just said, it's a World Cup, so once the Australian series was over, they could reset and just wipe the slate clean. That's done and dusted. So they must have got together. I haven't had an insight into what and who came into the Indian camp, but they just completely seem to reset and start again. And then I don't know. The excitement of a World Cup, is always elevated. It's different to a one-day series. It's something that you want to win, you want to have on your resume when you retire. And I think the success that India had, obviously in 2011, probably self-inspired. So, that's just my thoughts, and it's just a fairly simple thing. I don't know what you think.
Do you think after the one-day series, the lengths have changed of the Indian pace bowlers? When there was a little bit of pace and bounce on the wicket, when they pitch short, the bounces have been good, but the follow-up delivery has been in that zone, that corridor of uncertainty, which I thought during the one-day series, we weren't peppering enough deliveries in that good length area. The follow-up deliveries were not there. We were getting hit. The four balls were gifted. That has been a little area that I think they've been a little more tight on.
Yeah, I think in that one-day series, Australia got on top, and it had been a long summer, and they got on top and kept their foot on the neck. And then now, as Nikhil said, they've used the new ball in the right way. They've been aggressive with it, yes, but then as they've followed up with good length balls, wicket-taking balls, that you can see where their wickets have been taken early on. They've been caught behind, they've been LBWs, and there's been the odd bowled as well. So they're attacking in the right areas.
Right. Boria, you heard what Andrew had to say about attacking in the right areas. This is also the first time India's dismissed an opposition, or rather their oppositions, 5 times in a row. Quite incredible, that feat.
Absolutely. This happened in the 1985 Benson and Hedges. That was the last time in Australia that India sort of managed this. And that point in time, in the final, they got Pakistan 176 for 9. Only time India did not finish an opposition, but all other matches, India managed to bowl the opposition out. And when you actually think that this team was struggling to get wickets in the Test series and in the Tri-series, not once were we able to get 10 Australian wickets. It's quite a dramatic turnaround, isn't it? That's what is making this World Cup campaign quite a fairy tale. That's what is giving Indian fans hope. The ones that you see there, in that window, it's quite incredible. The way Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been able to turn this around is quite fantastic.
Andrew, what's really interesting this time is that, from 206 for 3, the Irish team could only muster about 259. Do you think, while they look set for 300, credit needs to be given to Indian bowling for this remarkable comeback in this game.
Well, Shami again was very good with the new ball. He picked up 3 wickets. But as I said earlier, Ashwin in the middle, they didn't have the courage because they'd lost wickets to really get out and attack him. But he's bowling with beautiful control. His arm ball he's bowling out of swinging. I think people are wary of his variation and a little bit reluctant to attack him. So he's going to be a key man leading into these finals. It'll be interesting to see how opposition teams play him come finals time.
Right. Hold on to those thoughts, Andrew. I'll come back to you in a bit. In fact, correspondent Shivani Gupta caught up with fans from Ireland outside the 10Mar in Hamilton. Take a look at all of that.
The news of England getting knocked out has been great for one team, and that's Ireland. I have some Irish fans with me who are excited about it.
England's going home. They're going home. They're going home. They're going. England's going home. They're going home. They're going home. They're going.
The party has already started for Irish fans. They're playing India, but they're already excited. You guys are extremely excited with England getting knocked out, isn't it?
Oh, unbelievably.
But are you happy about what Ireland has done?
Ireland are going to go all the way. Ireland are going to beat New Zealand in the World Cup final.
Today. Excited about today's match? Are you confident about India beating Ireland?
Yes, India will win.
India will win the World Cup title.
Yeah. Ireland.
वो जीतेगा भाई जीतेगा इंडिया जीतेगा. All right, Irish and Indian fans clashing here outside the stadium as well. Even as the two teams battle out here at 10Mar in Hamilton. From Hamilton with camera person Manish Mathur, I'm Shivani Gupta for Headlines Today.
All right, so continuing our discussion on India's incredible victory from where we left it in the previous segment. Nikhil, you had a question for Andrew.
Yeah, now that we're getting close to the business end of the tournament, let me try and get the Aussie perspective in from the other side of the dressing room. You know, in the 5 games, Andrew, we haven't seen the Indian spinners really get under the pump. Do you think getting into the business end of the tournament, teams would be strategizing, saying, if you don't lose wickets against the new ball of the Indian bowlers, we can put some pressure on Jadeja as well as Ashwin. Who would you target?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways. I think what's happening at the moment is they're not bowling at set batsmen. If a bloke's in and he's on 40, 50, 60 and they come on to bowl, but they're already into their innings and they're running. So they might face 3 balls and over, and then they've got a plan as to how they're going to attack, say, an Ashwin. I would attack Ashwin. I'd try and manipulate the man at 45, paddling him, move him, get that man there, and then it opens up square leg, mid-wicket. And then also, if he decides to keep mid-off up...
Yeah, because you need the 5th fielder in the 30-yard circle because of the new ruling.
That's right. The new rule has opened up one side of the ground. There's going to be a hole there somewhere. So then it's up to you to play to your strengths, manipulate the field. I'd try and hit him probably straight. And then also, if there's a short boundary, especially for me on the leg side, I'd target that. So, and he's bowling slower. So if you're good on your feet, use your feet at him, run at him. And then Jadeja, same thing. I'd manipulate the field. I'd try and hit him offside with the spin. You know, down here, try and get 2 men here, and then that creates a gap on the offside, or not such a strong offside field in front of the wicket. And then if you do put enough pressure on Ashwin and you happen to get him out of the attack, Dhoni's forced to make a decision to bring his sixth bowler into the game, Rohit Sharma. So that's the way I'd go about it.
So that will be the key. Don't lose wickets against the Indian pacers, and then you can put some pressure.